Hey guys, Steve here for Who Took My Nice Miniature War Gaming. Welcome to my next installment in coverage of the latest tidbits let out by Games Workshop about Warhammer 40,000 8th edition. So we've covered, let's see, what have we covered? We covered generals of the game and the unit profiles. This time I'm going to be covering two new things. One is weapon profiles that they released 2 days ago, and movement, what they released yesterday. So, weapon profiles, okay? Again, people freaking out. What's going to happen with those? Age of Sigmar, because, Games Workshop's kind of taking the things that have worked from Age of Sigmar and they're putting it into Warhammer 40,000 with tweaks, obviously. People are like, oh my god, what are they going to do? Is this going to be a to-hit and to-wound type thing? It's not. Obviously, like we discussed on the last video with units, strength and toughness are still a thing. So your weapons still have a strength attribute to them. Got a couple of cool examples here. We got a flamer, a bolt gun, and a las cannon. That's what they released. So, weapons have a strength, they have an AP, a damage, and an abilities little zone to it now. So, we'll go through them. We'll discuss here. So, flamer. Well, everybody knows that, well, templates are now a thing of the past. So, I'm not sure it's going to work for things like the big battle cannons, frag missiles, even blasts from, like, psychic powers and what have you. The flamer, we can see sort of where they're going with something. So flamer has a range of 8 inches. So you still have to be close to use it. That's about the range, I think, of what the old flamer template used to be. It's assault D6, right? So it kind of randomizes the hits, just like it would when you had the template. It's strength 4, AP 0. I'll get to that in a minute. Damage 1. All right. Here's the cool thing. This weapon automatically hits its target. So when you roll, you just roll those d6, and that's how many hits that unit takes. You don't have to roll the wound or roll the hit like before. It automatically hits. I foresee flamers becoming a really big thing. I mean, check out things like Burnaboys, a whole unit of them. You take 10 of them, that's 10 d6 hits. That's devastating, right? Now, it's meant for things that have, low armor, low toughness, or, take crowd control. So yeah, but I think flamers are going to become a very cool thing very shortly. Next on the bolt gun, okay, 24 inches just like normal, like before. Rapid fire 1, so I'm assuming that you get one shot. I'm not sure how it's going to work with movement yet. AP 0, so it's not taking anything away from armor, and damage 1. Again, bolt gun's good for taking down, just as it is now, taking down your basic low armored guys. It's good for taking down light infantry. Now, the las cannon, this is where things get interesting. As you go back to what we talked about the other day with things like walkers, like the dreadnought, or vehicles having multiple wounds now. They said, like, land raiders could have up to 12 wounds. People going, I've already seen people go, like, how do you take it down with a las cannon now? You get one shot. You're going to be shooting this tank the whole freaking game, and nothing's going to happen to it. Here's where the las cannon, this is where they've upped some stuff and really taken... These weapons now feel like they're supposed to. Okay, so las cannon, range is 48 inches. It's a heavy 1, strength 9, AP minus 3. So how does that work? Well, if you haven't played Age of Sigmar, where they have rend and all that, which is a -1, -2, what have you, you subtract this from your armor save. This is what they used to do back in 2nd edition, right? Like back in 2nd edition, Terminators rolled a 3+ on 2 dice, right? And then you'd minus that from whatever. So, for instance, a Space Marine that has, a 3+ armor save, it's a -3. Pretty much no armor save at that point. It's done, right? You get like maybe a 6+. I don't know how they work that out. Here's the interesting thing. Damage is D6. All right? So say, for instance, you have that dreadnought that I believe has 8 wounds. 2 shots, you're probably done with it. All right? 2 shots. Say roll an average of a 3 or 4 on those dice, 2 shots, that thing's gone. So you can still really put the hurt on these vehicles, even if they have wounds and all that. And, that would cut through the Dreadnought save just as well. So that Dreadnought's going to go down in a couple hits. It's done, right? It goes along with that everything can hit everything now, or hurt everything, I should say. So that's really just awesome, all right? Again, they said they're going to make weapons feel they should. When you get hit with a las cannon, that thing should hurt. It should just literally blow things apart. They also said they're trying to make weapons so that they fit a certain thing. So firing a las cannon at, say, Space Marine is a waste of shots. you're gonna kill it. Great, you killed one Space Marine. Now you have to save the weapons for what they're meant for. I think that's what they're trying to do. So Flamers are going to be awesome now at taking out lots of infantry. Right? Lots of low armor infantry. And las cannons are going to be ultimate armor killers. What happens with meltaguns? Who knows? There's this again. Everything's just sort of like these little pieces, the whole puzzle. It's absolutely fantastic, though. I love it. So yeah, so it's really cool. Even say here, yeah, so it says here, one of the most powerful man portal weapons, the last can, kicks out D6 damage, allowing to blast chunks of large vehicles and monsters to kill light vehicles and characters in a single hit. Yeah, D6 damage, you fire that at a character who's probably going to have 3 or 4 wounds, maybe. We'll see. He's done, right? Terminator, pretty much done, right? Against something like Guardsman and Orc, though, this formal damage output will be wasted. Exactly. So you don't want to be firing it at Orcs. You want to fire at their vehicles, right? It's pretty crazy. Another one, the next part is movement. I'm just looking at notes I made here. So movement has changed. Obviously, everybody has their own movement right now, like we showed there. Terminators being movement 5, 5 inches. Your standard Space Marine being 6-inch movement. All right, so they're saying things like certain units will have a minimum range. Things like flyers that have to keep moving, right? Which is really cool, right? And they say things that represent the fact that swift fighters will naturally be quicker than, say, a bomber, right? It makes sense. Bombers are slower, they're more weighed down. Fighters are quick, they're fast. So we might see things like, say, a Storm Talon may be faster than a Storm Raven, right? Storm Raven's bigger, it's carrying troops or Dreadnought. The Storm Talon's a fast little fighter, right? The other thing is they changed running. So now, instead of rolling, moving in your movement phase and then rolling in a shooting phase, you add it all in one movement, right? So it says here, running has always been rolled in movement phase now too. You can advance when you move by rolling a dice and add to result to your movement to go a bit faster at the expense of shooting. So you're still giving up shooting, but now you get to move all at once in the movement phase, which actually saves time. You're not like, well, should I move them? You make that choice first, you move. You know you're going to give up shooting anyways. And it applies to everybody, right? So it's actually a really cool way of speeding it up. I'm going to run this turn. So you roll that D6 plus your movement, right? That's really cool, especially it really helps combat armies. You don't have to shoot anyways, right? You're armed with bolt pistols or what have you, and chain swords, power weapons. You could potentially, on your first move 12 inches, right? Now, we don't know about close combat yet, right? How the charge is going to work. They haven't said that yet. It could be 2d6. It could be, who knows, right? But yeah, you can move 12 inches in your first turn, which is awesome, right? And you're not having to do it in a second turn, and you just go. The other thing is, what else was it? There was another thing. Everything is the same. They did change one more thing. And this is really cool for combat, especially if you're not good at combat. Now I'm looking at Astra Militarum, Tau, even Necron units, right? Your warriors, your initiative 2, you're not very fast, right? So you can actually do so I'm going to read this out because it's pretty long. But if you're in combat at the start of your turn, you can fall back, and they use that in capitals, by moving away from the enemy. You'll lose the ability to advance, shoot, or charge that turn, and crucially, enemies will be able to shoot at you. This does, however, open up a vast range of tactical options for armies like the Astra Militarum, as I said, the Tau. Anybody who's not good at fighting, you're going to like this if you use it properly. Will now be able to effectively deploy in firing lines, with each row falling back from assault in good order, if they survive, while the unit behind them fires at the attackers. This is cool. So I think even Space Marines could use this. I mean, there was times where I would, in some of the older rules, where Marines could, if I had the right person or the right warlord trait, my Marines could fall back. They could choose to fail a leadership test. It's great, especially if you're horribly outnumbered. I used it a few times when I'd have a tactical squad just getting swarmed by Khorne Berserkers. I'd fall back, hopefully on their turn, and not get caught if I was able to move far enough away. And that would give me a chance to shoot at them, whittle down their number before I went in, trying to take away their advantage of the extra attacks, right? It goes both ways, though. If you have a dedicated assault unit specialized in killing infantry, like Warp Talons is here, your opponent will find it much harder to pin them down in combat with heavily armored units the entire game. This is cool. So if you have something, say, like Warp Talons or Assault Squad, and you go diving in, and they throw, say, Terminators at you, well, you're in for a long fight, right? Especially if you're not armed with the proper weapons for taking Terminators, or they throw, storm shields at you, what have you. You're in for a long, dragged-out fight, which you may end up losing. This way, if you go in and they hit you with Terminators or something heavy, you can get out of there and maybe attack another unit. All right, that way you're not stuck. I've seen it too many times, and it's been a viable tactic where you go, okay, well, hey, there's a whole ton of orcs armed with choppas and sluggas. I'm going to throw a dreadnought at them. They can't hurt it. They're going to just be banging against it, doing nothing. I'm going to start slowly whittling them away. Now those orcs can fall back and have tank busters maybe take out the dreadnought or try to, and those boys can move on to something else, something meatier, right? So it's a great way, it's a great tactic now. It opens up a whole bunch more tactical options, especially things like Tau. Poor Tau that's stuck in close combat. They can't help it. It's not their fault. They have poor eyesight. But now that they can actually fall back instead of getting slaughtered in close combat and let those firing lines keep going on, right? Which is their strength, right? I mean, they just horrible close combat. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, too bad. Right? Get more crude. I don't know. But yeah, so that is sort of a quick look at movement and weapon profiles. So now we've seen weapons. They are starting to make them, from what it seems like, they're keeping the word and they're making them effective to what they do. A flamer, D6 hits. Oh, that's rough. On average, people would be 3 or 4. Rolling a 3 or 4 on we call theory hammer. You roll some dice, usually about 3 or 4, right? Which is nasty. You get a couple of those, it's really devastating. And then the last cannon, D6 hits. Or D6 damage, I should say, sorry. D6 damage. That can hurt. You have a Devastator squad with 4 of them, you're wiping out tanks like that. Which is what they should do. Now, we don't know what heavy bolters are going to be like. Plasma cannons, missile launchers, especially with no template now. How's a frag missile going to work, right? Will it just be sort of a, you roll dice, it's D6 hits? Who knows, right? Or things like battle cannons. How's that going to work? Right? No templates now. How does a blast like that? Will it be 2d6 hits because of a bigger range? Who knows, right? So, well, yeah, there you go, guys. So there is a quick rundown of the 2 new things now. Later on today, they're saying they're going to be bringing out stuff about the psychic phase. Again, it'll just be little hints, little tidbits of information to let us see kind of what's going on. I'm really excited for this edition. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to shake things up enough that some of the monotony of the armies, because over the last little while, it's the same armies, right? People find something that works, they go with it. I think this is going to break that up. It's going to force people to revamp their armies, and it's going to make people kind of go, okay, well, now, what am I going to do, right? Tanks have wounds now. It might be harder or easier to take them down. Should I be adding more anti-infantry? Should I be adding more anti-tank? So it's kind of, I think it's going to shake up things, which is really, really nice. They're moving the story along, so the people who love fluff, that's awesome too. If you haven't read the 3 books, the Gathering Storm 1, 2, and 3 there, pick them up, read them. There's a ton of fluff in there. There's tons of crazy stuff, and there's little things here and there. No one is making out of this unscathed. Everybody's been affected. Katie has been destroyed. By the way, spoiler alert, if you have, I'm going to say this right now. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert! Right? Katie's been destroyed. Warp storms have literally cut the galaxy in half from one corner to the other. Warp storms everywhere. Orcs are rampaging. Necrons are taking over. The tower expanding. Imperial worlds all over the place are under attack. At the same time, the Eldar are taking it, right? Biel-Tan's been in a rough place after the fracture, right? A new god has surfaced, right? He's got his people. The Eldar are actually coming together now. There's still, you have your craft world, you have your Dark Eldar, but you have the Reborn that are kind of in the middle, and they're taking all sorts, and they're following Yenid, this new god, and this is, they think this might be their chance to finally get rid of Slaanesh, or Slaanesh, or however you say the name. This could be the end of them. And beyond that, and of course, Guilliman coming back, right? Him taking over the the Imperium becoming the Lord Commander again. Sorry, it's a phone. Excuse me one second, guys. I don't know. Anyways, I hate when people call. But yeah, he's taking over the Imperium. He's Lord Commander. He's raising new armies, bringing out new weapons. But there's all these little things in there. In the second book, you find out the Gate of Cain, which is this big gate that's been locked up with chains made of the heart of stars, and there's sigils, and it's been guarded and everything. It's this big gate. If it breaks open, demons come rushing through. Well, guess what? It's shattered, and there's demons running through Kamara. Vect has gone into hiding, waiting for his moment to come back and take it back over. Gulliman has reconstituted Ultramar in the 500 worlds. If you don't know what it is, read the Horus Heresy, look it up. But he basically said, I need a united front again. And so all these worlds that I ceded to these other chapters, to other commanders, they're now part of my realm again. So it's Ultramar in the 500 worlds again. So I need unity right now. So it's crazy. So all these little things are happening. Heroes are coming back, being reborn, new hope. It's crazy. All this crazy stuff is happening. In the second book, you find out that the followers you need can actually restore 1,000 suns, and it happens. So Aramin's there fighting against these guys in the webway, and she says, "Listen, I can restore your people." And literally, there's a couple of them, and all of a sudden they stop just being automatons, and they recognize each other. Go, what's going on? And they fall back in perfect, Legionnaire Astartes maneuvers around Aramin, going, "What's going on?" And he's flabbergasted. He's like, "Oh, what?" He's like happy, distraught, amazed, confused all at the same time, because all of a sudden, the thing he's trying to undo for the last 10,000 years has been undone. And then, of course, this girl promptly blows the ground out. These guys start falling on the webway, and he goes after them, because all of a sudden, his guys are back. The thing he's trying to undo for forever has been undone. So, I mean, I think the new edition is going to shake up alliances, who's going to be on whose side, because if Aramin can see, well, they can undo what I did. He doesn't care about Slaanesh. He didn't give a damn about them. Sure, I'll help kill Slaanesh. Just bring my people back, right? There's so many twists and turns that could happen now. I mean, with Gulliman being back, I mean, in the book they deal with the ecclesiarchy a bit. He doesn't like it, but the people around him just let them, because they're saying it's a holy miracle, and he's like, no, I'm back. It's science. And he's at first he's no, but the people around him, is like, no, just better to have them as a firebrand you can direct at someone else than as a powerful enemy. So I mean, there's tons of different things that could be happening in this new edition. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be so awesome. I'll be back again soon, guys, with another one focusing on the psychic phase. I'm hoping we get to the combat stuff or shooting to figure out how everything works, how things like cover work now. It's going to be crazy. As usual, guys, if you like what you saw, please hit that like button. Share it with your friends, your family, whoever. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'd love to add you to my growing number of people. It's fantastic. And again, I want to thank everybody who stayed on the channel while I've been through school, through these month-long hiatuses that I've had. It's amazing because the channel still keeps growing. My Instagram keeps growing. People keep hopping on. It's fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. I'll put it down below as normal. There's a Facebook page, Instagram, there's Twitter now, and a Patreon page. So please, guys, take a look. Do whatever you want. But as always, I'll see you next video. Keep rolling those dice, guys. Bye.